I mean, it's never a dull moment. At one point, Fani Wallis' father said, "I don't mean to be racist, but most black folks hide cash." I'm from Georgia, Atlanta, and I can tell you, I don't hide my cash. Wow. Welcome to Outnumbered. This whole thing this morning in Fulton County, Georgia's courthouse, with the DA on the line here, Fani Wallis, and her lover, Nathan Wade. This is what we're talking about here. Her dad took the stand, and she didn't. It was a twist. Fulton County decided not to call her to the stand. The state said it had no questions for Fani Wallis. We've been covering this all morning, and we welcome you in while they figure out what they're going to do next because the state had no more witnesses at this time. All of this comes after Fani Wallis's defiant testimony yesterday when she defended her relationship with special prosecutor and lover Nathan Wade. Let's watch.
And it's highly offensive when they try to implicate that you slept with somebody the first day you met with them. Merchants' interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor, not to mine. So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth, Judge. And it is a lie. It is a lie. You think I'm on trial? These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
This is Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner, here with my co-host Emily Compagno. Also joining us today, Fox and Friends First co-host Carly Shimkus. And with us for the very first time on the couch, Fox 5 New York anchor, star, and host of the new Fox Nation special, The Sanctuary Trap, Rosanna Scotto.
Thank you so much, Harris.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And you're wearing blue leather pants.
Listen, I get dressed up for my ladies and Paul.
Yes, all right. Well, welcome. Fox News contributor, attorney, and former NYPD Inspector Paul Morrow is here as well. First, let's go to Steve Harrigan, because a lot has happened over the last couple of hours, nonstop in that courtroom in Atlanta. While they try to move to their next steps, we're going to go to you, Steve.
Harris, a lot of surprises. We were surprised to see Fani Wallis take the stand yesterday, surprised not to see her take the stand today. One witness apparently AWOL at the doctor, but instead we got Fani Wallis' father, John Floyd. It's clear the defense is trying to establish a timeline of exactly when possibly this relationship between Nathan Wade and Fani Wallis began. Willis's father every bit as colorful on the stand as his daughter. Here's him being asked about when he met Nathan Wade.
Did you ever meet Mr. Wade in the year 2019?
Absolutely not.
How about in the year 2020?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever see Mr. Wade at Miss Willis's Fulton County house in the year 2021?
Never.
Both sides trying to make the point whether or not Nathan Wade was hired before or after the relationship between those two began. Their finances also under scrutiny when they traveled together. Wade said that he would pay with his credit card, get reimbursed by Fani Wallis with no receipts given. They're going to have to ask the judge to believe that. The judge has warned that disqualification for the two of them in this case is a possibility. Harris, back to you.
Steve Harrigan, thank you very much. Emily, I'm coming to you first. Can you refresh us and make it clear the timing of this? Why is it so critical that we know whether Nathan Wade was hired as the top prosecutor on the Trump case by Fani Wallis before or after they got together? Why is that so important?
So there were 19 defendants in a case that the district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia brought, one of them President Trump. And as it emerged later, what we learned from a divorce proceedings that was at that point under seal in the court by her special or lead prosecutor was that they had been in a relationship. And not only had they been in a relationship, but it looked like they had used funds, taxpayers' funds, to augment their relationship, to go on trips. It looked like as well that as people dug deeper, the allegations were that this prosecutor with whom the DA was in a relationship with, not only had they used taxpayer funds to make that relationship exciting and go to Aruba and all these kinds of things, but it looked like perhaps the experience wasn't there to justify that appointment. And in fact, it looked like we were seeing a favor by the district attorney that was elected by the people and in use with taxpayer dollars of that relationship. After that came to light, these allegations, then both Fani Wallis and Nathan Wade vehemently and under oath denied that. They said we did not enter into a relationship until well past 2021. The appointment happened in 2020. They said, or 2021, they said we didn't come into a relationship till 2023. And it looks like now, given this testimony that we saw before the court, it actually happened in 2019. So why this matters is that these defendants have now brought a motion before the court to say there is, at a minimum, an appearance of a conflict of interest and potentially an actual conflict of interest. That the team that brought this case against the former president of the United States and 18 other defendants was compromised, was materially compromised in the form of fraud. And so what we are seeing is an evidentiary hearing before the judge who will determine, in fact, whether there is evidence of a conflict of interest. And from there, maybe the case is thrown out, but really what would happen is the prosecutors would be removed and it would all start over again. This victory for President Trump, what is looking like a victory, would be monumental, and the delay is important. But at the end of the day, I'll just say that if you're going to bring a case against the former president of the United States, you better have it dialed in. I have never seen such a sham, such a joke of a case as this has illustrated, as I have against half of the Americans for tax fraud that we see every day that the government waits to be buttoned up and dialed in before they bring it. This is humiliating at best.
You know, Rosanna, as we watched today, that gentle old man who is her father, who also has a background in law, was put in the position today to have to say that she had a boyfriend in 2019 named Deuce. And the only reason he knew about that was because he and she were sharing a residence at the time, the dad and Fani Wallis. This went deep. It was supposed to be her on the stand. As a voyeur, was that a good witness?
Listen, he was honest. It seemed like he was honest. And he was her father. He's her father. See, he's defending her. But he had so many wonderful lines, okay, about cash and how it was a cultural thing. Can we talk about that a second? Because, you know, as an Italian American, yeah, it's a cultural thing in our background as well.
We do.
We do it too. But you would expect a different behavior from Fani. Because she's in the legal profession and because she is now going after the former president of the United States. I would have thought she would have played everything by the book, everything to the letter of the law, not to get herself in trouble.
Let's take a look at that if we have it. It's Fani Willis's dad when he was asked about his daughter's finances and all of that cash.
When your daughter moved or left the house that she owned, did she say anything to you about having a large savings of cash?
Oh, no, no. See, maybe, excuse me, and Your Honor, I'm not trying to be racist, okay? But it's a black thing, okay? You know, I was trained. And most black folks, they hide cash or they keep cash.
Hide cash.
Right, hide cash. It's a cultural thing. Come on, I know you said you don't do it in your family. And I know a lot of people, you know, during COVID who took a lot of money out of the bank and hid it in their house. But this is a legal prosecutor. This is a prosecutor who should be following the letter of the law. And it seemed like the way she withdrew cash was also suspect.
Well, she never said she withdrew cash. She said she had it all around everywhere. She had 3 safes in her house.
But she said she would go to stores and she'd take out a little bit more when she used her card. You know, she was taking a little bit more cash.
Did that help Fani Wallis and Nathan Wade? That's the whole line. That's the whole bottom line of all of this.
You know what? I like her father, and I'm sorry that he was in this position, you know?
It's an awkward position. So, Paul, as an investigator, you're looking at this, and you're kind of putting the pieces together. Do you have enough pieces?
Well, the timeline matters. You know, it's one of the first things you put together. So according to the testimony yesterday, they were involved, as per her friend, in 2019. In 2020, Wade was at her house at least 10 times, okay? I'm assuming he wasn't there to check the meter. So that is very clearly a conflict right there relative to this timeline. As far as the cash goes, she said yesterday, I think inadvertently, well, I had campaign cash in my closet. So looking at the cash issue, you know, in a nutshell, there's cash and then there's cash. And campaign cash stuffed in your closet, we're getting into troublesome territory. She's also got potentially even some perjury issues here. This thing has to be moved. Her whole office is tainted.
Carly.
Okay, so this from the start has reminded me of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial because everybody's watching for the salaciousness of it. It's part salacious, part legal. Everyone's watching for all the gossip, but the legal matters more. And we were introduced to Fani Willis's dad yesterday when Fani brought him up several times.
She did.
And in one point said, the only man who's ever paid all my bills is my daddy. So clearly they are close. And I am sure she is watching this right now. And this was really hard for her to see. And she is probably thinking, was this relationship worth possibly blowing up my career and seeing my father on the stand as well?
So let's talk about watching, because something that Phil Holloway said to me last hour, former federal prosecutor, she said, you know, Harris, she wasn't supposed to be watching any of Nathan Wade yesterday.
Right.
There was a sequestration order in place, and he felt like she clearly came out and reacted very emotionally to whatever Nathan Wade had said. And my big question is, when you say the state, you also mean the defense in all of this. So in terms of handing Trump's case over to someone else, all those people will have been defending her in this.
Right, that's a great point. And, you know, she brought that up when she said on the stand, you know, I'm not the one on trial here, it's Donald Trump. Like, she at all times, I think, is very cognizant of what her North Star is. I have to make this additional point. I know you know what I mean. When you flip to the back of the bar magazines, it all talks about the bar, everyone who's been disbarred or disciplined. 95% is mismanagement of the client's monies. Yeah. We have to have an IALTA account. We have to account for all of our clients, basically insurance, interest, whatever. We have to account for every dollar. If you even buy a Coke with their funds, you are disciplined and potentially disbarred. Imagine to me, the way I see it, as a steward of taxpayer funds, with the faith of the county and the state behind you, to keep it in the closet in cash because it's cultural, I think that's a joke.
All right. Well, he said, I don't mean to sound racist, but most black folks hide cash. We'll move on.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Compagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.